America, my name is Osei-Frimpong. I come to you live every Monday and Thursday. Monday, I try to do a relationship show, but kind of a holistic relationship show because I don't want you to just get in a relationship and end up divorced, and then you can't see your kids, and that's a mess. And on Thursday, I do a more hard politics show. Today, we're going to talk about children and particularity. You want to train your kids for excellence, and excellence comes in a particular form. Universal excellence isn't a thing. Excellence comes in excellence in doing a particular thing that's different from this other particular thing. So you want your kids to be excellent in a particular way, and you want to train them in a particular kind of excellence so that when they then get older, they can pick whatever particularity through which they live their life, a particular spouse, a particular job, a particular politics, and that will also be excellent because they've been trained in excellence in a particularity. And they're going to do that from the resources that you've given them. They're not going to do it out of nothing. So you don't become excellent in general. You become excellent at a particular thing. And then from that particular excellence, you start to see kind of some, a family resemblance to the ways that you're excellent in other things, or the way to choose different particular excellences, right? So a lot of parents are scared to particularize their kids. I'm for particularizing their kids, get them very good at something. Now, the thing you get them good at can't be arbitrary, right? It can't be arbitrary. It's got to be kind of conceptually grounded to realize freedom in some way so that they'll be able to recognize freedom in other particular artifices. So, example, you could train them in excellence in making a lot of money. They could be very good at making a lot of money, but in a way that's kind of, they're excellent at it. It's making a lot of money, but it's away from some sort of really kind of robust philosophical, grounded activity. So they'll be very good at making the money. And maybe that'll end up when they leave the house, they might be very good at making money, but that's not going to help them sustain their marriage. That's not going to help them, or unless they're married to a mercenary, that's not going to help them, raise their kids unless their job is to make money and then give it to the wives to raise kids. But then those wives are the ones who skip out and take half your money, right? Or half your kids' money. Or it's not going to help them in other aspects of their life. Stay off drugs and all that stuff, right? So the particular excellence you train them in has to be an excellence that's conceptually grounded in the realization of self-determination or freedom, not just something that's other than the realization of self-determination or freedom, because then it's not going to help them in all of their other institutional relations, right? So like my kids do music. My kids do a lot of music, but chamber music, I think, helps you kind of wrestle with the instrument to realize freedom in your relationship with the instrument. But also in chamber music, it helps you kind of have to deal with other people. And when you have to deal with other people in chamber music, it takes a quality of sensitivity that'll help you deal with other people in other aspects of your life, trying to create beauty by working with other people and counting and being accountable in that way and playing in tune and all of these things, I think is actually a conceptually justified form of excellence. It's not arbitrary. We don't do it for the cash. And, in a way, it's the same way with soccer. Right now, we work a lot of individual skills, but eventually, I want them playing on more teams and to understand the team aspect of the game and to be excellent at the team aspect of the game, because I think if they're excellent at the team aspect of the game, they'll be excellent in the team aspects of other parts of, meaningful life. And I think all aspects of meaningful life are somewhat of a team venture. So it's not like I want them to be professional musicians or I want them to be professional soccer players, but I want them to develop excellence in these particular areas. Insofar as excellence in these particular areas, especially if I kind of calibrate the quality of excellence they generate, is excellence in institutions and freedom in general. And so they'll be able to apply that excellence in institutions of freedom in general, and their participation in those kinds of institutions. And I think you should do that with your kids too. And also, don't trust any of these institutions, especially black people. Black people, don't trust any of these institutions to teach your kids. Nobody's going to teach your kids like you are. So if you have any sort of excellence, your first job, if you have any sort of excellence at all, is to make sure that you are the one who transmits that to your kid, because nobody's going to do it. Nobody's going to do it, especially black kids. I don't trust any of these professionals to teach my kids anything that So I end up having to learn a lot. And it's an unfortunate part of the black tax, but that's just how it is. And I'm not gonna, and I can do a different video on that, but like my kids know everything, are gonna know everything that I know by the time that they are 13. like that's, I got an 11, 6, and an 8-year-old, and they're gonna know every form of excellence that I have cobbled together by the time they're 13, and then build and go off that. Because you say you want them to be free, but freedom comes from being able to particularize yourself based on what you're given, right? So they need to have the excellent tools in order for them to actually realize their freedom. You don't just become freedom in a vacuum. You don't just tell kids to do what they want, because that's how you end up with drugs, right? So you need to give them particular skills, make them excellent at those particular skills, and then from those particular skills, they will find a different form of freedom. But if you're not doing your job of making them excellent, and that's gonna take a lot of like them fighting you, especially in a culture that says they should be immediately gratified with everything. But if you're not serious about like instilling in them like particular conceptually founded excellence, not excellence that can't be justified by the concept of freedom, but excellence that can be justified by the concept of freedom, then you can't be surprised when your kids end up wastrels, right? So, and you can't expect other institutions. I'm sorry, black people, you just can't expect other institutions to teach your kids. I don't expect any, like my kids learn what they learn from me. I don't homeschool them technically, but I've worked out a relationship with the school where I do a lot of their education. They go in school late when I feel like they go in school late, and I pick them up early when I feel like they should be picked up early, so I can do some extra one-on-one time with them. I got 3, and when you have 3, it's kind of hard to get one-on-one time with them, so I just had to kind of arrange with the school that I need enough one-on-one time with them. I'm front-loading this. A lot of people don't take parenting seriously. A lot of people don't take a lot of things seriously in terms of marriage and parenting. But I'm front-loading this with the idea that if I spend 10, 15 good years with them now, it's going to save me time in the future. Some people say like, well, if I make a lot of money now, that way I'll be able to bail them out in the future with the money. And I just don't know. I'd rather take the extra time to make excellent people and then let the world deal with my excellent people than kind of phone that in. I've just seen it go both ways, and I'm going to gamble the way of intensive parenting, because I think that's the way people should, because I've just seen the competition. The competition's intensely parented. And, maybe like, I don't know, liberal whites do parenting one way, but that's just not the way I'm going to do it. And black people who are too busy and make different decisions do parenting one way, and that's just not the way I'm going to do it, because I've just seen too much. Like there's some problems that more money doesn't fix because you didn't spend enough intentional time like fighting it out with your kid and like working with them, pretty much working with them against immediacy. But you have to understand, this is my household. My household, my kids don't have devices. We don't have a TV. We have a projector. But so there's no screen time in this household, just because I think that's dead time. And so maybe I'm fighting the wrong battles. I'm just saying I'm not losing without a fight. And I will not say that, well, I'm not going to look back and think, oh, well, I kind of took my eye off the ball. My eye is on the ball. I might miss. I might hit a foul, but it's not going to be because I didn't pay attention. And a lot of parents abandon their kids to the market and then are surprised when it ends up kind of a disaster. That's not going to be me. And that shouldn't be you. So train your kids for particular excellence, but the particular excellence has to be with an idea towards how this particular excellence actually realizes freedom, not just the particular excellence for the particular excellence's sake, like some arbitrary thing that you can't actually think through what it's doing to the quality of their mind. You just want them to be good at it. No, you want them to be good at a particular thing because it has something to do with how it affects the quality of their mind. Not just their usefulness to the market, but just the quality of their mind to think through hard problems with respect to freedom and interpersonal relationships. You want to train your kid in the quality of excellence so that they can watch a video like this and kind of get all the moves the first time. If this video makes sense to your 15-year-old the first time they watch it, that means they've been raised correctly. If not, then, well, you tried. All right. By the way, not a lot of people are telling you the kinds of things I'm telling you. And if you support me doing these kinds of things, you should go over to www.funkyacademic.com and kick in $5, $15, or $50 a month. And I'll, kind of keep doing what I'm doing. But if you take anything from this, it's that excellence doesn't come in general, and then it comes through particular activities that are all realizations of excellence. And you want to pick the kinds of particular activities that your kids do. For example, if I had to do it again, maybe the one thing I would do is maybe push swimming earlier. I had some structural barriers about why that wasn't the case. But swimming is great for young kids. I think swimming and maybe gymnastics is great for young kids because if they get excellent at it, they're building cardiovascular health that will serve in other forms of particularities. Like it'll serve in other sports. Like if you're a competitive swimmer from age 5 to age 9, I suspect you have the resources to do just about everything. I like swimming also because it's indifferent, and especially for girls. Girls need more indifference in their lives. I think women are really bad parents of girls, so I'm pretty honest when I say that girls need more indifference in their lives. And the water is indifference. They can't coquette it. They can't cute their way out of it. They can't smile their way out of it. It will drown them, and so they just have to strategize and work through it, which I think is something that more young women need. So I'm a huge fan of people swimming, especially young girls. I'm a huge fan of girls doing sports in general, just for that reason, the indifference of it. They need more antagonism in their life. A lot of people get on me about this, but like I said, I'm not one of these guys who pretends that mothers are the greatest parents for daughters, or that anybody, especially in a world where we expect women to do things. I think, my wife is great, but we had to have a long talk about these kinds of things because a lot of her friends are not great. So if you don't want to produce a useless girl, don't have them around useless women. And so there's that. But training them for particular excellences it's kind of countercultural. So just be comfortable with being countercultural, which I am, and which I think you should be. And if you want more people to be countercultural, which means it creates a whole different culture, like I said, go to www.funkyacademic.com, kick in $5, $15, or $50 a month, and then this gets bigger, and then we create a culture around what's considered countercultural, because right now the culture is just abandoning kids to the market and their immediate desires and letting kids choose. I don't really, it's just an abdication of parenthood in a way I find unbecoming. I just think liberals are the worst parents in America. Conservatives are bad, but just in a different way. And you don't grow self-determination by just giving kids authority to do what they want to do. That's not responsible. They don't know. That's like saying, well, I'm a good parent because I believe in their kids' freedom, so I let them eat whatever dinner they want. No, that's not true. No, I pick the dinner, and then they get to choose between spinach or broccoli. But they don't get to pick. And they're gonna fight. If they're entitled, they're gonna fight. But I think the best thing you could do is just get rid of the entitlements. You just stay consistent from birth, and so they don't get untoward entitlements. They just understand that meals include spinach or broccoli. They don't feel so. Anyway. Train your kids for a particular excellence. Pick the particular excellence so that it could actually be conceptually justified in terms of helping them understand how to realize freedom in relationships with other things. And that way they'll be excellent in all the varieties of particularities that require, interpersonal relationships and enabling freedom with other people. Right? So you pick the activities, but you're going to have to drive them to be excellent. And don't expect any institutions, that means coaches too, to drive them to be excellent. You are going to have to drive that. And this is America. America's cutthroat now. We'll find out in the next generation exactly how cutthroat, but you don't want your kid to get eaten, and you don't want I don't want any of my kids, my parents would want, I don't want my kids to get divorced, right? So there is no guarantee except for kind of ethics that they will not screw up their personal life, even if you can set them up for, material fortune, you need to ethically set them up to pick the kind of partner who is going to not screw up the kids. Right? I was just thinking about Tiger Woods kind of pulled out his kids actually seem pretty, I suspect they seem pretty cool. They seem pretty cool. I don't know the inside and outside, but I do know that, Earl Woods, when he was training Tiger for excellence in golf, didn't think that that Tiger would end up like, one, screwing up his marriage, and two, end up with like halftime with his grandkids. Like that's with Earl Woods' grandkids, with Tiger's own kids. So that's not like, you need to train your kids so that they can sustain relationships and pick people who can sustain their relationships and understand that as a value. And, you can train them to be mercenaries and earners, but then they'll just end up with a mercenary. And like, you need something that's going to withstand. You need them to think about relationships in a way that withstands, the vagaries of divorce laws. And, a market culture that will tell their spouse like that makes awful people, that makes awful partners. So thank you for your time. And I will talk to you on Thursday to talk about something completely different. I think I'm going to do a show on that Magical Negro movie. There's I saw a trailer, and I think you should go and see this too, the Society of Magical Negroes. What I like about it is that it seems like there's a society for magical Negroes, and it's their job to keep white people comfortable because black people's lives are easier when white people are comfortable. When white people get anxious, they start murdering people and getting guns and stuff like that. So if you keep them just easy going, everyone's life is easier. And so there's a society of magical Negroes that draws its power from the ability to keep white people kind of even. And it's good because it seems like it promotes peace, but it's bad because it actually promotes peace by engaging in white capitulation. So instead of changing white entitlements, you're actually capitulating. You're teaching people to capitulate to white entitlements. And so there's going to be a tension there when sometimes, white people have to take it on the chin. And they are not used to that. And we need to be honest about the violent retaliation when they have to take it on the chin and just kind of tell them to suck it up anyway. And that's the quality of insight. I think the movie delivers in a non-obvious way. I've just seen the trailer. It comes out in March, but I'm going to see this with my money. It's called the Society of Magical Negroes because I think there's going to be a tension between the seeming Booker T. Washington-esque dignity of keeping peace and attaining magic, but the way that's done is through appeasing whites rather than actually just fighting for justice. And that also means like fighting white entitlements, not just appeasing them and comforting them. Although it's peaceful and easier if you just comfort them, and more profitable. So that's the thing. And I think I'm going to put some more thoughts together on that. Maybe show the clip on the Thursday show and talk about like how that's kind of an interesting that there's a society that draws power from comforting whites and secures peace by comforting whites. But that society might be the whole villainous society. Kind of like across the universe, across the Spider-Verse, how the Spider-Mans ended up being the society of Spider-Mans ended up being the villainous society. But anyway, I will talk to you on Thursday about something completely different. Peace.